Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this week's Political Pulse. I'm Randy Aldridge, and I'm joined by Emma Kate Sowder, our Manager of Health Policy, and Hannah Rice. I always have to read this to make sure I get it right. You are our Manager of Political Fundraising and Grassroots Advocacy.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you both very much for being here. Things are starting to wind down across the street with this session, so we wanted to take this opportunity and talk about advocacy and how our members can get involved. Now, there are four committees that get involved in our legislative work. So I'm going to break that down and talk about that so everybody knows how they can get involved. Hannah, I'm going to start with you. Let's start with the Legislative Cabinet and something very important to you, the NCMS PAC Board. So start with the Cabinet. Tell me about that.
So the Legislative Cabinet is made up of our NCMS members, and their main priority is to create the legislative priorities for NCMS. Once they create those, they go to the NCMS Board for approval. So the two boards kind of work hand in hand to make sure that the legislative priorities reflect NCMS policy.
And we're going to follow up that just with a little something. This committee takes what our members want to be their legislative priorities, and they put them into sentences. They make sense of them, and then they give them to our board so we can decide what we're going to be focusing on. So this really is the voice of our membership at its very core.
Yes, and that committee, the Legislative Cabinet, once the legislative priorities are created, they take whatever bills get filed down at the General Assembly and try to determine which ones they want to engage on. When they fit into those legislative priorities, how do we communicate that information to our members? So they are great if you want to be involved with legislative advocacy. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. No, I was going to say moving on because I know you really want to talk about the PAC. Yes. That's also really what you want to talk about the most. So tell me about the PAC, NCMS PAC Board.
Yes, so the NCMS PAC Board is made up of 10 NCMS members, and they have two primary goals. One is to create a fundraising strategy that myself and all of them get to map out for the year. And then the second big priority is to distribute funding to state and federal candidates. So when the NCMS PAC Board comes together, they all fundraise together, but then they also get to determine where the money goes.
And anyone can donate to the PAC Board, right? Any of our members can donate to that.
Any of our members can donate to the PAC.
So also, this is the voice of our members determining where our money is spent.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, see? see, I know the slowest people think I am. All right, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I want to talk with you, Emma Kate. Let's talk about the other two committees. Tell us about the Policy Committee and the Ethical and Judicial Committee. Two big differences.
Yes, two big differences. So policy, of course, is my favorite. So we'll start with that one. So Policy Committee is kind of the opposite of legislative in a lot of ways. Legislative is very reactionary, and I think policy is a little bit more, it's forethought. You know, we're thinking about what might come up in the General Assembly that we need a policy on that, you know, in case it's not on our legislative priorities outlined. So really that committee develops internal NCMS policy, which is used to shape our legislative priorities and shape our reactions to bills. And that is more of a slow process, a little more scholarly, a little more researchy than the quick reactions that legislative cabinet sometimes has to.
I've been involved in that a little bit. It actually, it's more nuanced.
Yes.
I think that's the best way to put it. It really does flesh out what we want to say in a very, it can be a little legal-easy, I think, for a lot of people. But when you read it, you really get a sense of, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we want to, how we want to make change, and why we want to make change.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it's very wordsmithy. You know, it's important that we get it right because these policies are adopted and they're only renewed every 5 years. So we want them to be long-lasting and standing the test of time for sure. So, and all of our NCMS members, of course, are on that committee. We do have consultants for important issues sometimes that are from outside the organization.
Which I think is probably necessary.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about Ethical and Judicial Committee because I'm not sure many of us know what that is.
Yes. So ethical and judicial, they interpret medical ethics and conditions, and they also deal with legal and regulatory issues. So it's kind of the other side of advocacy, dealing with rulemaking, legalese, ethical dilemmas, that kind of thing. So again, a lot of legalese, wordsmithing, that kind of thing on that committee as well, but it's definitely even deeper into issues.
Nuts and bolts.
Yes.
This is what holds everything together. Right. It's a little bit deeper dive than the other committees.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. Hannah, how can everybody get involved?
So
Your second favorite thing to say.
my second favorite thing. So there is a committee interest form on our website. So if any of our members are interested in getting involved in these committees or any of our other NCMS committees, fill out that form and somebody will follow up with you to kind of gauge your interest and see what the best fit is.
And on our website, that is in a drop-down box under advocacy. It's very easy to find. Yes. All right. Thank you both so much for talking about this. I know these are committees really near and dear to your heart, so I'm happy we got to share this with both of you. Thanks again. And again, you can find all of this on our website, ncmedsoc.org. And thanks for joining us.